This one is so disturbing. Right away, trigger warning, unfortunate circumstances regarding animals and children. Brief, but still there. This man says that back in 5th grade, he had discovered a Pokemon-themed chat room. Inside this room were about 15 regulars, ranging from like 12 to 16 years old. They had a great time together, chatting and role-playing various anime characters. And over time, they got to know each other pretty well, to the point where they were messaging each other on AIM and even chatting on the phone. A few of the friendships even lasted 5 years. Now, one person in particular was what he describes a little bit eccentric. He said he really liked creature and monster figurines, liked Godzilla, believed in Chupacabra, which he thought was silly, but whatever. So the person telling the story is from the West Coast, and he says that this guy he's describing was from like Midwest boony type of area. Goes as far as saying Hickland. His words, not mine. We're gonna call this weird guy Greg for the story. So he says over the years, he really got to know Greg pretty well, and they'd even spend a lot of time talking on the phone. Until one night, Greg opened up to him and shared this story. Greg told him that sometimes he would black out and then wake up in the act of torturing animals and children. There were a lot of cousins and nearby kids in the neighborhood that he targeted. He even went as far as telling him that he unalived many animals. And when Greg told him this, he said he felt sick inside. I mean, what the heck? He loved animals, and this was just really messed up. I mean, obviously, and it chilled him to the bone. Greg also said that it was very difficult for him to gain the courage to admit this to him, and that he was one of the only people he was ever able to tell. And then he said things got weirder. Someone in Greg's family, or maybe a close family friend, decided that he must be possessed, that there's got to be a demon in there and they should do an exorcism. Greg went on to share that they did this exorcism at night in a dark room with lit candles. And then Greg started to choke up and cry when he told him how they tied him to the bed because they were unsure of what the demon would do. Greg got continuously more upset and his voice started to crack, and he continued to get more and more hysterical as he told the story. I guess Greg went on to describe an extremely creepy process, but he wasn't willing to share that. But what stuck out for him was the ending of the story. Greg told him that when it got to the end, like when the demon was going to be eradicated from him, they heard an audible thump as though something fell through the bed and hit the floor as the demon exited him. And then everybody saw something scurry across the floor and leave the room in the darkness. Once they finally turned the lights back on, they found deep claw marks in the wooden floor that led from underneath the bed out the door. He says Greg was completely serious about this. And he also said that whatever they did cured him. And ever since then, he has no desire to hurt things anymore. He says, and then I, as any sane person would do, noped right the F out of that situation and never talked to Greg again. I don't know, man. I have a lot of feelings about this one. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. I am disturbed. And if you have a creepy story of any kind of your own, I would love to hear it. And don't forget to follow for more creepy story time.